Good morning, dear colleagues. We start our work and I give the floor to the Ministry of Defense spokesperson, Colonel Dmytro Gutsulyak. Good morning, dear guests. The Ukrainian parliament adopted a law to adopt presidential decision on access of the units of other countries to the territory of Ukraine 2017 to participate in monthly national training. The law provides regulation on adoption of the units of armies of other countries on the territory of Ukraine to participate in the multinational training. It defines the general number, types of equipment, and quantity of equipment, timetable, and places of deployment. According to the law, this year, 3 multinational trainings will be held on the territory of Ukraine, among them yearly Ukrainian-American training, Sea Breeze, and Rapid Trident. In addition, the units of the Armed Forces of Ukraine will participate in 20 staff trainings with participation of several representatives of the Armed Forces and of 16 multinational trainings abroad. In the trainings on the territory of Ukraine will participate over 12,500 servicemen of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and there will be nearly 7,500 servicemen from Ukrainian partners. Nearly 1.5 servicemen of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and military equipment will participate in the multinational training abroad. These trainings are aimed to make the armed forces ready to repel military aggression, and this is an integral element of combat training. The main objectives are to improve combat readiness of the armed forces of Ukraine and their interaction with the units of NATO members, training of staffs of all levels according to NATO standards, as well as individual and collective trainings for servicemen of the armed forces to perform their tasks according to NATO standards. The Ministry of Defense continues to pay remuneration to the servicemen of the armed forces who perform their tasks in the east of Ukraine. As of today, they received over 150 million hryvnias of financial remuneration, among them 7 million for performing tasks in the units and almost 142 million for direct participation in combat. The families of soldiers who died in the east of Ukraine since the start of the anti-terrorist operation received 1,392 million hryvnias, over 870 million hryvnias of financial remuneration. The servicemen received the servicemen who suffered injuries and disabilities. Over the past year, families of the servicemen received 1,040 apartments in Pervomaisk, Білгород-Дністровськ, Макаров, Дніпро, Бахмут, Коростень, Мелітополь, Чоп, Коломия, Біла Церква, Васильків, Odessa, Kyiv, New Rozdol, Sumy, and other cities of Ukraine. 404 families received compensation instead of accommodation on the total amount of 154 million hryvnias. The Ministry of Defense agreed to exclude 226 apartments from the list of service accommodation and hand them over to families of reserve servicemen for permanent use. The Ministry of Defense provided accommodation to 345 servicemen who participate in the anti-terrorist operation and 13 families of servicemen who died in the ATO zone. 13 families of servicemen who rent their accommodation received compensation for rent payments on the amount of 264 million hryvnias. To provide accommodation for servicemen on contract service, the Ministry of Defense allocated over 40 million hryvnias. As of today, 3 barracks in Lviv, Vasilkiv, and Starochi are almost constructed. Nearly 550 servicemen can be accommodated there. This year, according to the budget program construction of housing for servicemen, the Ministry of Defense will receive allocation on the amount of 751 million hryvnias. According to the financial plan of the Ministry of Defense, nearly 258 million hryvnias were provided for medicine, and nearly 230 million of these will be used to purchase medicines and medical equipment. Since the start of the ATO, military hospitals and military units of Ukraine received charitable help in kind on the amount of 420 million hryvnias. This year, almost 353 million Ukrainian hryvnias will be allocated for medicine, for medical support. This is more than in previous year. 200 million of these will be spent on medical of medicines and 93 million for medical equipment. As of today, 91 servicemen is treated in the hospitals of the Ministry of Defense. 12 servicemen undergo treatment abroad, 4 of them in Hungary, 3 in Germany, 2 in the USA and Italy, and 1 in Latvia. 28 servicemen who were wounded in the East undergo rehabilitation in resort facilities of the armed forces. The defenders of Ukraine continue to receive remuneration for their devoted service in the east of Ukraine. Since the start of this month, awards from the ministry were given to nearly 300 participants of the ATO operation. Since the start of the conflict in the east of Ukraine, the Ministry of Defense gave awards to 35,800 servicemen and staff members of the armed forces of Ukraine. Thank you. The press conference.